Oh, here we go. Bunch of snow on it. Here's the one I just got. Then we got some burn morels we're reconstituting.
Ew. You bit my whole finger.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right, we're about to go on another spring foraging adventure, but before we do that, I figured I'd start this video out with a lesson that has really helped me accelerate my spring plant foraging. Specifically, in the early spring, a lot of plants that are just emerging and just coming back to life are, just leaves. There's no flower stalks yet. There's no flowers. Flowers are great for helping you identify the species you're looking for, but you don't have that. And at that stage, when these leaves are really tiny and just emerging, they all look pretty similar. And, it just makes IDing a lot more difficult in my opinion. But that's why I like to go for plants, or like to learn about plants in early spring that have a remaining flower stalk from the previous year. So I'm thinking things like, dock here, or maybe like cattails. Just plants, like look for plants that still have that noticeable remaining flower stem, because that's just another solid ID factor you can use to help you identify the young leaves and help you identify the plant, and also maybe tell it apart from lookalikes and whatnot. So that's just something to consider, especially if you're a beginner forager. And, even for someone like me who has foraged for years now, it's still always scary learning a new plant. And I take my time, and sometimes it takes me 2 years before I eat a plant. Just because I like to watch them, especially in that early spring stage. I'll go and I'll watch the leaf. I think I have a plant. I try to identify by the leaves, but then I wait for that flower stalk and that flower to come just so I can be certain. But some of that can be shortcutted, I think. Again, if that plant has a remaining flower stalk from the previous year, like asparagus is a great example here. You'll definitely see almost always those big, tall, leftover asparagus stalks from the previous years. So just a little tip here. Figured that would help some of you, who might be a bit hesitant with eating spring greens because of the difficulty of IDing them. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's go outside and let's hopefully find a lot of spring greens. And I'm hoping we'll get into some oyster mushrooms. It's still kind of early, but I already know someone who has found a big flush, so that would be awesome. And then I think we're going to do, or try to do, a little outdoor cooking today as well. Let's do it. Come in here. It's a brisk morning. I don't know if you can tell, but it's snowing right now. Kind of a bummer, but that's just what it's like living in Montana. So the first plant we're visiting is growing in these willows by this river bottom. And if you're looking down the ground, you can see some fresh leaves emerging. And this is actually one of our Dame's rocket spots. And it's a plant we discovered last year. Dame's rocket has quickly become one of our favorite plants to forage for. This is actually the first time we're harvesting the spring leaves. We've only harvested the flower heads, the unopened flower heads, which are very akin to like little broccoli florets. And there's a whole video on the channel I'll blend in if you want to check out that and kind of see what we did with that. But for now, let's get some of these Dame's Rocket basil rosette leaves, because they make a really tasty spring edible. Oh, here we go. Bunch of snow on it. Already got some pretty big leaves. And remember how earlier I was saying I like to look for plants that still have a dead flower stalk in the spring from last year? This is the flower stalk that Dame's Rocket has. So, it just helps you ID. This can be a key ID factor. Help you distinguish it from some other plants. Now I'm going to grab some of the younger leaves because those are the most tender. We're also going to throw in some bigger leaves since this is our first time actually harvesting the spring leaves. But I know as soon as that flower stalk starts to appear, they get really tough and they're supposedly, just too fibrous to eat at that point. So just looking at these Dame's Rocket leaves here, they are lanceolate. So they kind of look like a spear tip. They're more tapered toward the bottom. They have a very light green, almost white midvein. And the midvein also protrudes on the back, like it's sticking out pretty dominantly. And you'll notice that it is slightly like kind of wavy on the edges. And a lot of these leaves will have little bumps on the edges, which they actually call nippling in botanical terms, from what I've been learning. And that will be pronounced more on the actual flower stalk leaves that are going to be sitting on the flower stalk, which those leaves look a bit different once they're on the flower stalk. They'll get a lot more triangular. Another thing to look for is the hairs. So there'll be tiny hairs all over the leaf. It's in the mustard family, and it's actually a really serious invasive. So if you find your Dame's Rocket anywhere, you can harvest lots of it without feeling bad about it. Let's give it a little sample. Super pleasant. It's really sweet. Yeah, it definitely has that almost like an arugula type flavor to it. There we go. I'm going to grab a few handfuls for our meal later. Don't need to get too many, but just so we have some greens to get the day started. Okay, we're in some river bottom now, looking for oyster mushrooms and anything else we can find, and tons of cottonwood trees here, all these behind me. And I just found this dead one. And check it out. There's definitely some sort of mushroom leftovers from the previous year. Can't really tell what it is, but my guess is oyster mushrooms. Checked the whole tree. Didn't see any new growth on there yet, but I marked it so we can come back to this one. So while you're out here and not finding fresh mushrooms, definitely also keep an eye out for, dead mushrooms from the year prior, because then you can come back in a few weeks or a week. You can go quick with mushrooms. They grow quick, and just see if anything fresh is popping, And a lot of mushrooms are like that. Well, they'll come back year after year. So Lindy was just showing you there is a thistle. I'm not sure exactly which type of thistle. It's a pretty big one, so it could be a bull thistle. And bull thistles and thistles in general are edible. So I was looking around. There's a few rosettes growing close to the ground. There's one right in front of you there, Lindy. And I have one here too. So I'm going to give it a go and try to dig one up. It helps to have gloves for this, so we'll see. I'm going to just see how hard it is to get down here, but we just had the snow and all that and rain yesterday. By the way, the sun is shining now, so hopefully it stays that way. But anyway, that should make it a lot easier to dig these roots. So right now, it's going pretty well. I haven't felt any rocks. Really love my digging tool here. Ooh, I see a lot of worms. It's always a welcome sight. This root seems like it's kind of grown to the side here. And I don't think I got it all the way. Let's see. Tiny root on this tiny little thistle. I was expecting more of a taproot, like a bigger one. But you know what? Feels pretty fibrous. I'm gonna grab it And I'm gonna try it later. Just see how it tastes. I'm gonna try to get that one you were looking at there, Lindy, too, just to see if...
You want me to dig it?
Yeah, you can dig one if you want. Here you go. Here's the one I just got. Can tell, super spiky leaves. Oh, how's it going? A lot of thistles are invasive too.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself. What I did is I went all the way around. That made it a lot easier.
I'm just trying to figure out what direction it's going.
There you go. That looks a lot more taprooty.
Well, there was another one, but I broke it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll take it. Does that one feel like, if you pinch it with your fingernail, does it feel like it has some give?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll taste it. Let's bring it with.
For you.
Thank you.
I'll get the second one since it's almost completely out already, too.
Nice. Dang, look how pokey and spiky that is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It makes you want to just like
Do what?
grab onto it.
That's not what I would want to do at all.
Look at them all.
Nice.
Like little legs on a carrot man. Insert smiley face here.
Happy digging, y'all. I hope you get out and dig a bunch of roots this spring, because the spring is a great time to dig roots, especially for those biennial plants. You know, in the early spring, all that energy is still stored in the roots before they send up a flower stalk. So you can usually get a lot better, bigger, more nutritious roots in the spring or in the late fall before the winter happens. But in the spring, they're usually pretty easy to dig just because of all the moisture and humidity and rain and whatnot. We're gonna keep on moving and hopefully we find some nice oyster mushrooms.
There's like 10,000 spiders in front of me right now.
What?
There's like 1,000 spiders all over. Just teeny, teeny, tiny little black ones.
Well, maybe don't go get that thistle then. There's a thistle right over here. But Lindy is saying there's a ton of spiders just crawling around the ground.
They're like little black spiders. And I don't really feel like having black spiders all over everything.
Yeah, no, there are black widows out here, so don't want to mess with that.
And brown recluse.
Yep, let's keep moving. So we got into another group of cottonwoods here, and I noticed another tree with dead mushrooms on it. This time, I'm pretty positive they're oysters. You can kind of still see the gills. There's more over here. Kind of still see that stipe. And there's another log over there that has two big chunks. So something I've noticed now that both trees had, and something I've seen in other trees before with oyster mushrooms on there, is you see obviously a dead tree and then it has all these little holes, like these almost like termite looking holes or woodpecker holes. And I wonder if that just allows the spores to get into the tree better. Maybe the insects, the bugs even carry the spores in there and they're kind of inoculating the log like that, just like you would a mushroom log if you're trying to do this in your garden or in your backyard, you know? So if you see a tree from afar with a bunch of holes like this and it's a cottonwood and you're here in Montana, it's worth walking around the whole tree, just checking. I also marked this one. Didn't see any fresh ones yet, so we'll be coming back here for sure. Take your weapon.
Poldia of the Poldia clan of Poldia, I challenge you
What you want?
And you shall have it.
You won.
Oh yeah. Lindy just pointed out all these rose hips here. We'll have to mark this spot. I saw a few more in these willows down below here. But these are all from last year. Made it through the winter. It's a great one to forage in winter. Now we made it to the river. Look at that. That's neat. All right, y'all, made it to our cooking spot. We pulled over by a local fishing access on the way home. And yeah, got a nice table even to set up on. But let's see what we got for today. So we got our greens, our Dame's Rocket we got earlier. We found some dandelions. These are really small still. Dandelion are best when they're small because they're not as bitter at that point. But I was really hoping for some like bigger ones, but we didn't find a single big one. Looks like we got some cocoa powder there. I think Lindy's hoping for a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Then we got some burn morels we're reconstituting that were gifted to us. You know, since it is about to be the morel season here, we figured this would be fitting for our wild meal. Onion. Got some brie imported from France. Some potatoes.
I already peeled one. I got impatient, sorry.
Not foraged, unfortunately. And then here we have a conifer needle powder that we made. This is pretty cool seasoning. It's got an interesting flavor. So we're going to try to put some of that on maybe the potatoes. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking potatoes.
Yeah, let's try it. So we have a video on how we made that, and I'll blend it up on top so you can check that out if you're interested. Then here, the big prize, we got a deer backstrap from last year's hunting season. And I'm going to let Lindy speak on how she marinated that.
Thank you, Captain. It's just soy sauce, Worcestershire, mustard, salt, pepper, and thyme.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then we also have bison tallow. Yummy, yummy. Look how pretty. There's garlic here. Polly's going to talk about the bison tallow in just a second. There's garlic and then salt and pepper.
So real quick in the bison tallow, check out how freaking yellow this is. We got this from our buddy Spencer. Him and his friend were able to harvest a bison, and he gave us some of this. You don't see this kind of yellow on like even grass-fed cattle, like beef fat. And that's from all the carotenoids in the prairie grasses that the bison are eating, and just super cool. And it's flavorful. So we're gonna actually cook our wild deer backstrap in wild bison tallow. Wow, that's gonna be good. I'm excited. Let's do it.
I'm going to do just tallow, like French fries, but like fat fries. So they hopefully cook a little bit faster. But are still kind of crispy, like a potato chip, sort of. And then at the very end, we'll add in a little bit of garlic and then the pine seasoning, probably on half of them, just in case we don't like it.
Yeah. Time to flip the taters. Those look so good already. Here we got our thistle. One of them at least. I'm gonna try one of the roots. And I'm just gonna try a little bit. Just gonna see how I like them. But I'm gonna clean this up quick. Yeah, look at how nice and white that is under once the dirt's gone. This does feels like it would be nice and tender, so we're gonna give it a try. Let's cut her up a bit. It's almost like a little natural French fry. Honestly, like the perfect size. I'm gonna cut it just in two. Looks good to me. We'll see. So the morels are reconstituted. Oop, ew.
Gross.
Gross. They're full of water. So I'm gonna put the morels here now and just kind of dry saute them. Meaning I'm not adding any fat or anything. I'm just gonna let some of that moisture come out, and then we're gonna add some fat, and then I just find they kind of take up that fat a lot better. So we'll just leave that there. Take a peek. Ooh, some of those are looking good already. See all that water coming out of there? We'll let some of that boil off. I kind of realized just now that it would be a lot better if I just cut these morels instead of just, keeping them in big chunks now that we're warming them up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Because these are gonna cook very differently with different sizes. So I'm just gonna make them all like small like that one. That's probably fine. Then he's gonna put some fat in the mushrooms because they are dry. There's no more water coming out of them. So then it's time to get that bison tallow in there or whatever fat you're cooking with. What are you making?
I'm hungry.
So you need a snack, a little appetizer.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Ew. You bit my whole finger.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, time for the greens. Our dame's rocket. And the dandelions. We'll toss those in there too. Not much of them, but better than nothing.
Wow.
I think that'll be really good. Just like a greens and onions scramble. Ooh, that sizzle. That right there is gonna be so good. Here we got the thistles now. Gonna give these a quick fry. Oh, you should just leave them right in that fat right in there.
It's not quite close enough to
Oh
there we
yeah.
go.
Then these got some hot chocolate ready for us. Ooh, ooh. This is just cocoa powder, right?
No, this is the collagen powder.
Oh, collagen, nice. Collagen protein.
Cheers.
Cheers. I like it. It's creamy. Here we got a thistle root. Nice and crunchy. We're gonna try these out now. I like it. Yeah, shrimpy, right? A little shrimpy or something like seafood a little bit to me. Alright, there's definitely some broccoli flavor too. Yeah, it's good. I like it. Time for the meat.
To be noted, this is a very dull knife.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, sorry.
For me? Oh, wow. Time to plate up.
Plate up. Whoa.
Now for the taste test. Let's try our greens first. I'm most excited about these because, like I said, first time trying the Dame's Rocket in its basil rosette leaf form. The Dame's Rocket together with the dandelion and the onions just came out really great. Burn morels, awesome. Now for the potatoes with the pine or conifer needle powder. It's actually Douglas fir. I don't know if I like the combo that much, to be honest. But I could see that conifer needle powder being more on a meat, honestly. But it's not bad. I like it. You happy, girl?
I am a super happy girl.
What's your favorite so far?
Probably the meat
Yeah.
and the veggies. The veggies turned out really well.
But yeah, the meat is incredibly tender.
Yeah.
Success. We'll see you next time.